Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals. And he said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with
the professor.
Wrestling.
Hello and welcome to the Professors of Wrestling Take on Zoom.
That's right. We are breaking new grounds. We've had to make some changes
to our whole spill of life. So
yes.
Remember, we want to be Taco Bell famous. So join the community, spread the word. And as always, we're bringing you new content as we close out this year.
Yes, we're hoping 2021 is going to be what we were hoping to happen in 2020.
Yes. Today, we're here with Tony Capone and Lou Reardon.
How you guys doing?
How are you?
Very good. Thanks for having us.
And it was pretty exciting because some of you may recognize Lou, particularly in the South Georgia region and the Florida region, but he switched roles and he reached out to us and he's got this whole thing going with the NAWA, and obviously Tony's behind that as well. And again, thanks a lot for joining us and reaching out. This is pretty exciting.
Oh, thanks for having us. And really, this is Tony's. This is Tony's baby. He's had this for so many years. I don't want to put an exact number on it because that'll put a date and an age on us. And when you get up as old as us, you really don't want to put a date and an age on us because unless you're a fine bottle of wine, you don't want to date or age yourself. But
a good Scotch is aged well.
A good Scotch that ages well. You want your 2 fingers of Scotch.
Yeah.
That's how I used to drink it. Tony, there's nobody better. You wanted me to come on to talk about the NAWA, and I said, you know what, I could talk about it. I could explain to you what it is, but to give a history of where the NAWA started, there's no one better but the man that created the NAWA, which is the Godfather of wrestling, Tony Capone. So if it's okay with you guys to give Tony platform for a few minutes to talk about the NAWA, or how do you, whatever you guys want to do.
Sure. We can do that. We're flexible.
Yeah, we're flexible.
Well, I guess so. Tony, can you give a short abridged version of the NAWA history for those that aren't familiar with it?
Sure. Let's go back to 1989, 1990. The NAWA originally formed when NWA and AWA lost their TV. So the name NAWA was a combination of NWA and AWA Wrestling. And we were localized in New York, doing shows throughout Westchester County, New York City, and all the 5 boroughs in New York. And I ended up meeting Herb Abrams from the UWF and took me on board as a talent. And he had the talent and I had the putting people in the seat. So for a year and a half, 2 years, NAWA was associated with Herb Abrams of the UWF. And when they lost their TV in '92, that was our change in our business format. We ended up getting TV on Sports Channel America, and the rest is history from there. We've been running on and off for the last 30 years, and some of the most iconic shows in the wrestling business. And that's the fastest version I can give you.
So one of the things that we do here, and it's a common question, is, and either you can start the answer, is what got you all into wrestling? What brought in that love of wrestling to you, for you all?
I personally was always a wrestling fan growing up. It was always in my blood, watching, in New York, WWF back in the days, and NWA, and the Von Erichs in Texas, AWA. We were able to see all the different formats. And I was training at a place called MetroFit in Pelham Manor, New York. And lo and behold, one of my idols growing up was SD Jones. I used to see him on TV every day, every weekend, and came up to me when I was doing leg presses and said, "Hey kid, do you like wrestling?" And this was like, wow, SD's asked me that question. And next I know, he told me to meet him on a Saturday, got me picked him up, went down to Brooklyn, part of the Johnny Rod School, but it was a separate school run by SD Jones, Mr. Haiti, and Bobby Bold Eagle. And the rest was history. First day I took a first bump, that was it. that was the beginning of the end for me in a way. And I would do everything I did back again. But, thank you to SD Jones for grabbing me out of the gym and really, starting my career for the most part, if you want to say. The first person that actually took me under his wing. And
You got
truly missed
invited.
him.
I'm sorry for interrupting you. You got invited into the super secret society when everything was still kayfabe. I mean, you hear about people trying to get into it for years and years, and it was almost like the door opened. You fell into it.
That's absolutely correct. And I mean, I still live by kayfabe nowadays. I don't believe a lot of stuff that's going on. But yeah, for SD to take me into that world, and it was a tough world. I mean, I started with SD and ended up with Dr. D. David Schultz for a while and Tony Altamori. And, behind the scenes where guys were, literally breaking guys' arms and ankles and everything else to not get them into the business. I experienced that, and I've been blessed to have good guys around me that just trusted me, believed in me, and gave me that opportunity. And yeah, it was the wrong road. I mean, the late '80s is totally different nowadays in regards to the industry and the whole kayfabe and everything else. But it is what it is, and I still love kayfabe today. I mean, business is business, and public is public. That's the way I live by.
What about you, Lou? What got you into wrestling?
Well, like Tony, I'm a lifelong fan, and I actually got into it. I went to a local independent show. A friend of mine was looking to do a fundraiser, and I went with him to talk to the promoter to try to book the promoter for a fundraiser for him. We did, and I helped him promote the show. And just by doing what the guy said, tell everybody that there's a wrestling show in town, coming to town, and we sold the place out. And as luck would have it or not have it, the ring announcer didn't show up, so I got to be the ring announcer. The guy liked what I did by promoting, liked how I did the ring announcing. This was IWCCW, the Savoldis, brought me on to ring announce. I started ring announcing for them and became a manager. Learned how to take some bumps. The Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez, was with them, and he got me in a ring and trained me and said, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to not do. Threw me around the ring, and like he's old school like Tony. And that first day I was limping and crawling out of the ring and back out of the back door. He hurt me. He hurt me. And we learned the business, and then from there I opened up my own promotion on Long Island because I got tired of working and not getting what I felt was the right. I said, if I'm selling all the tickets and I'm putting out all the flyers and I'm doing all this work, then I'm tired of getting told, well, the gate wasn't that good. I'm tired of hearing this, I'm tired of hearing that. So I started my own promotion, and I promoted a lot of shows. Was pretty successful with it, and I did some other stuff, and had some fun. I did some things with Paul Heyman with ECW, and we all know how that turned out, but we won't get into that. But it was an experience, and then I met Tony back in '99. We had crossed paths a little bit, and I was with him for his biggest show to date, Slam Jam '99. That was probably the best, greatest show I have ever been honored and privileged to be a part of. And I kind of stepped away from the business until, over the last probably 8-10 years. But when I ran into you guys down in the Redneck Riviera.
Right, Pavo.
Yeah, doing the NWA shows down there with the resurgence of that until they, folded up the 10 stakes. And but I like what they're doing now, the NWA. They got some good stuff there, but so that's my entrance into the business. And now, I was fortunate enough that Tony gave me a call, and when he was thinking of rebuilding NAWA.
So you both stepped away from it for a little bit. I mean, what brought you back? Or did you really ever step away from it? I mean, it's
Do you ever really step away, Tony?
I never stepped away from it. To be honest with you, my career in general, as a wrestler and as a promoter, towards the end, I was more of a promoter for the last, I would say, 25 years. And although we didn't do mega iconic events, we were always running like small localized shows throughout the years. And we ran our last show was actually it was 2012. We started back up again, and then 2016 I had God rest his soul, Jimmy Snuka, one of my buddies back in the days, and Tony Atlas, Nikolai Volkov, and it was just localized, more fundraiser shows than actually promotional shows, if you want to say. But like Lou, I mean, we never got out of it. It's always been there. We've always talked behind the scenes, and if anyone knows the business on the inside, it's a dirty political business. And I'll be honest with you, I was just tired of the BS, and just like I did not need that. And not that I was better than the business, but the business hasn't been 100% kind to me. I mean, I've made a great living off of it. I've lost a lot of money off of it, but it's the passion, the drive. And probably for the last 10 years, I pretty much, kayfabe the business for my two sons, just to not expose them to the business. My oldest son is a spit image of me from, the 80s, 90s, and could have a great career, but doesn't want it. He's in a different track. And my youngest son, same thing. So I did not expose them to the business till the last couple of years because of the inside of the business. It's not a friendly business. It's either you have the political contact, if you want to say, behind the scenes, and if not, it's very dirty. It is, to a degree. And parlay that, Lou. I mean, what's your feelings on that in general?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's it's not the glitz and glamour that you see, on Monday and nights and Friday nights now. And you just do get tired of the BS. It's got and the grind. When you're on the road a lot and you're missing a lot. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie 350 Days. But a lot of the interviews with those guys like Bret Hart, was saying that, it really does express it a lot, and you get guys who you think are tight, there's an expression in this business that everybody's your friend until you get out of the business, and then you don't have any friends. And that's very true. I can count on one hand the amount of friends that I have, that are true friends that I have from within the business, that are still friends out of the business. And Tony being one of them, Primo being another one, Gary being another, and our mutual friend Blaze. But otherwise everybody else, they come in, they kiss your ass because you can get them work. As soon as you can't get them work anymore, they lose your phone number. You're hurt, they lose your phone number. But it is that politics and that kind of just, like Tony, I'm like, I don't need it anymore.
You've mentioned your workings with two of the, I want to say, nefarious, Herb Abrams and Paul Heyman are not necessarily known for being people of high moral values.
Let me just touch about Herb Abrams first for a second. What you see on like Dark Side of the Ring with Herb Abrams and everything else, was that 100% true? It was probably like 97% true. But to be honest with you, no one ever talks about the other side of Herb Abrams. And you'll never see me trash Herb Abrams because I learned so much from him as a promoter. Yeah, he was eccentric. He was out there. Was there drugs in the back? Yeah, but it wasn't like you had to participate or whatever the case is. It wasn't like he was forcing it down your throat. And all these guys went on Dark Side of the Ring and made such a big deal out of it. And I had private conversations with quite a few people on that program. And I personally declined it. I mean, they asked me to get on board, and I just did an interview for the book that's supposed to be coming out shortly. But there's another side to Herb Abrams, and overall, he was a great guy. He was a great guy, and he was just had this guy with his vision. But I think if he had the right booker or like my organization where I have a team of like 6 of us or 7 of us that we're literally family, and I trust these people explicitly. And Herb had full control. Didn't want no one to, wouldn't listen to nobody. He had to interject himself on the shows, and he didn't care. If you looked at his videos, a lot of his pay-per-view events back in those days, there was not a lot of people in the audience because it wasn't about the audience being there. It was about him taking those tapes and going down to certain conventions and selling them for millions of dollars over, around the world for the footage. That's where he made the money on it. It wasn't just the actual production, totally different. And then parlay late 92 into 93, 94, Paul Heyman lives literally 20 minutes from my house. And, back in the days, I was talking to Paul and he wanted me to co-merge NAWA with this concept of Eastern Championship Wrestling out of Philly. And they did a show at the Manhattan Center, which my license was used on, and just didn't feel right. I love Paul. He's very talented. He gets great storylines, but I've said this over the years, he's not to be trusted, and it is what it is. But in turn, I ended up losing my camera crew to ECW. I lost Taz and Dreamer that started from nothing, Little Guido, to a degree, Big Guido, Rocco Rock, Public Enemy. These were all my guys. These are guys I built up on my format for 2-3 years before that. And for Heyman to come in with that whole crew from Eastern Championship Wrestling and then take it over, yeah, it's the past. I'm over it. If Paul was to call me now, if I was to call in, I would still talk to him. I would not associate with him still, but it is what it is. I've been there through the tops and bottoms in a very, very money losing proposition, if you want to say. I mean, I spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars building this company up, and to have the the rug pulled out of you overnight, it's disheartening. And back in '99, that we was talking about Slam Jam, which is our iconic show. It's still an iconic show now because of all the talent that was on that show. Excuse me. Back in those days, Bruno Sammartino, and I have him on tape. 3.5 years as a commissioner of my company, and gave his stamp of approval, which I have on tape. It's going to be coming out shortly because we just turned everything into digital. And we had Sid, Mario Mancini, Public Enemy, Jim Cornette, King Kong Bundy, Alpha, Sika. Their kids were on the show. I mean, it's just that's just part of that particular iconic show. And in addition to that, late 89, 98, 99, 2000, 2002, and 3, I ended up getting Sandman, and Shane Douglas became our champion at that iconic show that he was talking about. Shane was on TV as the ECW champion on Sunday, called him up Monday morning because I knew there was heat behind the scenes, came to our show in a mask, won the match, a 15-man battle royal, took the mask off. It was him, and I got him on tape taking ECW's belt, throwing it in the garbage until ECW and Paul Heyman to go F themselves. So that's footage that's not been out there yet, and that's what makes this company iconic. We're not in the major leagues, but the history that goes back to late 80s with the tapings of all the stars that we have on tape, they're iconic. I mean, I was looking at tapes recently or video footage of Boston Bad Boy Tony Rumble that started with us back in the days, and from the East Coast, Reckless Youth, Mike Bucci, Donnie Bucci. I mean, it was just an incredible time. And now with our creative team, with Lou and everyone else behind the scenes, we're trying to recreate that, bring in the best of what we call old school wrestling, the style, the vision that people remember from back in the days, but giving it a little twist to it in 2021. We're 100% kayfabe. I mean, that's a confidentiality thing with everyone behind the scenes, and not one person knows what's going on behind the scenes except for myself. And that's no disrespect, but that's where I was able to keep up to today 100% kayfabe. And Lou, you know what I'm talking about. I mean,
Right.
we're all really close, but you have to. It's just you just never know, and Lou, if you just want to parlay into that, everything we just talked about. I mean, the history of the company is phenomenal.
One of the things before you start, I had the opportunity to go through your roster and see you are the godfather of wrestling, and you're bringing in this amazing talent. What would you say is your role outside of just not only being the owner, and then Lou, you tell us your role as well. But what would you say is your role in these wrestlers' lives? I would say, because you all are a wealth of knowledge.
There's some guys that are out there, like in the last 10, 15 years that are wrestling, that ask me for advice and talk to me in general. On the other hand, behind the scenes, we have guys that worked with and that were behind the scenes with Florida Championship Wrestling, WCW, WCW from back in the days that are
They're frozen in time. It's really what's
Yeah.
happening. Is they're so iconic. Well, Lou, while he's coming back, what is your role with NWA? NAWA, excuse me.
Well, just to kind of, oh, he's back. My role is I'm the director of operations. So I kind of do a little bit of everything, part of the creative team. And, I just kind of, like I said, I do a little bit of everything. It's, I don't know how to really describe what I do, but it's.
if I may, Lou, you're the guy that, it's not just does everything. You put everything together. I reach out to you and you help me with creative in regards to certain bookings and everything else. You're the glue that puts this together. That you're that piece of that puzzle and a major part of it. I mean, you're being very modest, but you're my crunch guy. You're like my gorilla guy. The guy I can turn to and say, "Hey, Lou, what do you think about this?" And I know sometimes you get tired of talking to me 10, 20 times a day. But it's business and it's personal, and we know how to separate business from personal. And it's great to have that personal time and that business time together.
Yeah, it is, and I appreciate that, but and that's what attracts me, a lot, and what makes me excited about the NAWA, because it is the old school. When we were first talking about this, Tony asked me, what do you envision this as? And I said, well, I'm bored watching the stuff that's on TV today. It's nothing but a bunch of spot monkeys that, rush things. It's too fast. I think we need to go back to the old school wrestling where, we have good guys, we have bad guys, we've got storytelling, we have ring psychology. And it seems that everybody that we've got on our team, our family, not our team, but it's a family, like Tony says, is of the same mind, of the same mindset. And that's the NAWA. If you want to know a definition of NAWA, that's the definition. It's the old school style with a modern flair of today, because we do have young guys that are coming up. And, so we've got a little drizzle of that sprinkled on the top, because, you guys know I like to dabble in the kitchen. So,
yeah,
you got to have that little bit of bam on the top, right? And that's what we're bringing in with the younger guys, that little bit of bam. We got some of the old school guys and some of the middle school guys and some of the bam guys.
Lou, if you remember a couple of months ago, one of the guys who worked for our company for years, Luke from the Bushwhackers WWF, did a promo for us recently, back in, I think it was August or September, with the initial relaunch. And no one could have said better than Lou. It's like, the NWA, it's old school wrestling the way it should be, the way it ought to be, and bringing back professional wrestling at its best. I mean, Luke really wrapped it up in a couple sentences. I mean, that's really what we're about. We're going to give that old style, old school wrestling look and style, but with a 2021 flair to it, So I'm excited. I'll tell you, behind the scenes, I'm literally working, all of us, but myself personally, like 20, 22 hours a day. And, I can't lay down. It's just in the middle of the night, there's another idea, and I can't go back to sleep till I get that done, and then touch base with Lou first thing in the morning, like, Lou, this happened overnight. He's like, it's around like 6 hours. What are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, this happened. This one got in touch with me, because you got to understand, in the wrestling business, we're not just dealing with the East Coast. I'm dealing with people from the West Coast. I'm dealing with people from Hawaii, certain friends of mine from Hawaii. So, 6 hour difference, 5 hour difference is like 3, 4 in the morning here, where it's like 11 o'clock at night there. So it's like sometimes all night long, and there's days I go nonstop, but it's all going to come down to December 19th, the big show we got coming up. And with the pandemic happening and everything else, like I said, we found the right partnership with Fite TV that's going to be streaming all our pay-per-view events. And in addition to that, we found the right venue at the Ocean Center, which is a 9,000 seat arena that's allowing approximately 3,000 people at this event. And we're getting a lot of publicity because it's outside, even in regards to since the pandemic started. We're probably one of the only companies that's had a live event coming up, on this kind of a level. Even WWF is still virtual as of today, so we're getting a lot of publicity for that. And I'm honored, I'm proud, I'm humbled, but I couldn't do it on my own. I mean, it's all the guys behind the scene, from Robert Champion to Lou, to John Casal, to Primo. I mean, our family, Cindy Snow, who's in the female side of it and working with the female talent. And we all bounce on each other's ideas, and not one person. I don't want yes people. I want people to say, hey, Tony, I don't think this is right, and I'll reevaluate it. And that's why I have such a great relationship with Lou and Primo and all these people behind the scenes, because we understand each other. And there's
Tony,
no ego.
if I can interrupt you there, you've got all these things going on. We were wondering too, it seems like the NAWA is up and going. Are you going to be working with some other promotions? You're seeing a lot of some of the like ROH is starting to work with AEW, and possibly it kind of looks like NWA while it's kind of in its thing. Are you going to be working with other independent promotions in the future, or is this something that if it's successful?
Yeah, no, first of all, we announced last week that we're going to be in North Carolina. The state of North Carolina has made me a tremendous offer to move my company out of New York to the Carolinas. And right now, behind the scenes, there is a couple events being based down there. But in regards to your actual question, we're going to make this actually, my goal is like an NWA franchise, like back in the days where you had NWA Florida. So behind the scenes right now, especially on the Mid-Atlantic area, the Midwest, and a couple of states in the West Coast, I'm speaking to promoters behind the scenes, and these guys are working in conjunction with me to make this happen. And you'll see sometime in mid-2021 that they're going to start popping up as NAWA, Illinois, Wyoming, Florida, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, places that I've been in touch with that hasn't been done publicly. And this is like an inside look of what's going to be happening.
Are you going to have a St. Louis, like a strong St. Louis, like St. Louis NWA was so strong?
You want to know what's funny? And on September 6th, I can't forget the date, I was talking to Animal, and I reached out to him, and we were talking about doing something in St. Louis together, and he passed away on my birthday, September 22nd, but we are looking in, Kentucky. I mean, there's so many different cities right now, and we're away from what you call like the VHF halls and everything else. We're doing strictly arenas, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 seat arenas right now. That's our goal. And the next step up from there in the next, 2022, 2023 is take it to the next step, which would be, the football stadiums and, in New York, like the Madison Square Garden, I mean, those are the goals of the company within 2 to 3 years. And, yeah, I mean, Luke could speak about that another way, because we really spoke about the growth of the company and our projection. I think Lou was like 2.5 years, but I think we're actually ahead of schedule the way things are going right now.
Yeah.
That's super exciting. I think we'd in the future love to hear you like in a year or 6 months from now, see where everything's going once the pandemic and they get the vaccine out and everything. But I guess start with you've got Jingle Brawl happening on the 19th down in Daytona, Florida. There at the Ocean Center. What can people look forward to that?
Well, just to touch on that in regards to the previous question, with Daytona Beach, we are doing a associated with the NAWA is Great North Wrestling out of Canada. So it is their match sanctioned by the NAWA. And we also have CCW from Florida, who's actually going to have a match on the show sanctioned by the NAWA. CCW, although they do stuff in the States, they are very big in Chile and South America and everything else. And eventually our talent will be going down there. So
Your audio dropped out.
Yeah.
Not today. It's been happening. And Florida, I can just tell you the talent that's on the show, from Davey Boy Smith Jr., the British Bulldog's son, Harry, great guy. I mean, just to be there for our debut show, and we do have a show coming up in February that he's booked on that already, and Gangrel and Cahagas and Alpha Jr. and Lloyd, the Samoan son, Alpha Senior son, and Amber Nova. I mean, just to name a couple. Johnny Swinger, which is a cross promotion with Impact, and the list just gets better and better. And the Slambinos, the Dirty Blondes from MLW. I mean, this card is so packed. And in addition to that, we have Hercules, Ray Hernandez, Hercules. His family's going to be at attendance, and we're doing what we call a Hercules Cup, and that's going to be the final of the night, which is to crown the new NAWA heavyweight champion. And there's going to be a presentation to the family, and other secrets that are just coming out that we just want that band to be popped on. And Lou, you could touch on that too in regards to what's happening behind the scenes, without giving away too many secrets.
Yeah. How about the thing with Bruiser and his?
Yeah, actually, that's going to be announced tomorrow. Thanks, Lou, for hitting on that. In the last couple of weeks or so, I've been in touch with Barbara Goodish, which is, Frank Bruiser Brody's wife, widow, and we are going to do a special tribute to Bruiser Brody. I mean, just giving that respect back to the guys that really, enhance his business. And it's a personal shame what happened to him. And he was one of my idols growing up in the late 70s and early 80s. And, to try to imitate a tough SOB like him, I just have to bow down to him. But I'm honored to say that the family has accepted, and they're going to be there for a special service or presentation to the family. And I really just can't wait for this to happen. It's just, there's so much that's going to be there that it looks like it's going to be more iconic than Slam Jam. And that was hard to beat, but this
That's going to be hard to beat.
We are excited to definitely watch on Fite TV December 19th.
Yes. Where can people buy tickets if they want to go to the event?
Right now, go ahead, Lou. You could.
Yeah, their tickets are available on Ticketmaster. It's easy to go through Ticketmaster instead of going through the Ocean Center website. Just go right to Ticketmaster and search Jingle Brawl, or they can go to Fite TV to their website and click on there where it's going to be streamed live, and just click on there and pre-order it now, and it's $14.99, which is a bargain. As you know, for pay-per-views, for any pay-per-view right now, $14.99 for, with the talent that's on this card, it's going to be tremendous. It's 3 hours of action-packed wrestling nonstop. When you look at TV today, you see 50 minutes of talking and 10 minutes of wrestling. We're doing 55 minutes of wrestling and 5 minutes of talking. That's our goal.
Yeah.
And we'll be sure to drop the links in the descriptions for
Ticketmaster. We'll just links to Fite TV and everything right there. And also, we need to mention is Tony has his own podcast, The Wrestling Connection, every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern.
And we'll definitely put that as well for people to start checking it out. I've been loving the social media platforms the posts that you all have been running on NAWA. So anyone who's listening, make sure you follow them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yeah.
You all have been doing a wonderful job promoting the Jingle Brawl
Thank you.
And
the company.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, professors and stuff, but I'll tell you, it's about the fans. It's about the fans accepting what we're doing. And, all of us that are involved see the input day by day, people that we don't know. And we're not just talking United States. There's people from Japan, Germany, Scotland, Australia, Canada, that are following us on social media, and they're just like, they just can't believe this. And they can inbox me personally, and I respond to everyone personally. And it's that attention or that connection with the fans. When I say we're family, we're family. I always said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm not Vince McMahon with hundreds of millions of dollars in my pocket. I'm not Tony Khan with $100 million. I'm a guy with a vision and a dream. I've been blessed to, be able to do this on my own. No investors, just myself personally. And, I'm not really concerned what WWF or AEW does, because it's irrelevant to the NAWA. It's our style. It's our look. And either the fans are going to accept it or they're not. And either way, I'll take the responsibility as the owner of the company But I know without a doubt people accept it. There's no way that we did our marketing behind the scenes, and that older generation, and even some of the newer generation, they still want that old style wrestling, that hype when Randy Savage would come into the ring, or Ultimate Warrior, or when Hulk Hogan's music ran. I mean, talking in the '80s and stuff. They want that. They want that bigger than life character, cartoonish character, but we're human beings where people can relate to. It's not like Superman that's just a figure of your imagination. These are superstars that you can actually talk to, touch, and really get to connect with on a personal level. And I think that's why wrestling's been so, iconic over the years, where people just can relate to professional wrestlers.
That is definitely true, especially during this pandemic. I
Yeah.
think the fans were able to get closer to wrestlers and see who they are as people.
And we're excited. Thank you for allowing us to take time to do this evening. And we're excited to see where the company is going, and look forward to maybe have another conversation with you in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, both of you. I appreciate it. Lou, I love you like a brother, and we'll talk after we get off of this anyway. We got to more business, but with that, again, it was an honor, and I really appreciate it and appreciate your constant support. And if there's criticism, let us know too, because that's how we're going to become a better company. Not just one way. You don't like something, tell us, and we'll sit down and really analyze it. And once again, with both of you guys, I sincerely appreciate the platform that you're able to get us on this evening. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.